Is this thing on? Just kidding. How are you guys doing? My name is Brandon Camilo, and I am a fledgling little baby artist brand new to YouTube, with the hopes of delivering dope content to, honestly, anyone willing to pay attention. So, a little bit about me. I am of Nicaraguan descent and grew up pretty close to the bottom of the continental United States, in this little spot right here, Miami, Florida. I've never been formally trained in art, and I've been drawing my whole life, and with the handy-dandy help of the internet, I've embarked on this lifelong journey to improve my art skills whenever possible. Needless to say, I have a bunch of ideas rattling around in my brain parts about what types of content I want to create, and I'm super humbled and excited to finally be sharing it with the world. So, if you want to see where this thing goes, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell to get updates on any future videos. It sounds so weird to be saying that. Anyways, this right here is a piece from my sketchbook which I take with me everywhere. I like to draw with colored leads, particularly the Paper Mate erasable colored leads. So if you see my sketches in one of these three colors, it's because that's what comes in the pack. I used to use fancy pencils and whatnot for my drawings, but I've actually loved drawing with Paper Mate lead pencils because it makes me feel nostalgic for that sense of joy I got while drawing as a kid. Don't get me wrong though, I still feel that sense of joy today when I draw. I love to use all sorts of mediums, and I'm always excited to try out a new form of drawing or painting, regardless of whether that's analog or digital. Is it even called analog or traditional? I don't know. You get the point though. Putting paper on pencil, or paint on paper, or paint on wood, it's all the same. So, for the initial parts of the piece, I follow kind of a formula when it comes to drawing. I like to lay out the locations of the features before adding my shading, so you can see here that I'm laying out the main features of the face. It's funny because I always think that faces that I draw look androgynous until I start laying out the shading and shaded areas and stuff, but I don't know. I like to capture the eyes first and then build off of that for the rest of the face when drawing a portrait. I use relative distances and always use a reference photo. Even if the face that I'm drawing doesn't look like the reference, it's still nice to use the reference for things like proper neck anatomy or a light source. One of my favorite things about drawing this piece in particular, and one of my favorite things to draw in general, is the hair. You get kind of a sense of free flow freedom when it comes to hair, and it can be used in so much more than just a stylistic way. I think learning to draw hair is great for portraying movement or motion in a piece. So now that I've laid out the main features of the face, this is the time where the fun part begins. I begin adding the details to really flesh out the drawing. I begin by adding this little ribbon banner thing on the bottom so that the neck doesn't just fade off into oblivion. It also gives a bit more flow to the piece, if you know what I mean. Then I thought, well, maybe she should be wearing a crown or some sort of headpiece. I love drawing crowns on female figures for a sense of power and beauty, and this time I chose to add some leaves there at the top. I didn't use references for the items being added to the portrait, but I think after you draw enough leaves and ribbons, you kind of get away with that. Another thing that you'll see me do in this drawing is go over the lines a bunch. I love strong, solid lines in my work because it really helps block off shapes and makes a drawing look super clean and crispy. Not only that, but I've spent some time in my life training as a tattoo artist, and one of the fundamentals that gets drilled during an apprenticeship is strong, clean lines. I like to follow the lines up with gradients and shading to have a clean result, or at least as clean as you can get in a sketchbook. I like to take aspects in designing a drawing from neo-traditional tattoos and neo-traditional tattooing, but like I've said earlier, I've been drawing my whole life, so I like to mix in aspects of realism and anime as well. I've seen some cool artists out there that barely even use lines, and their works are much more painterly, and I love that. But I don't know if that's my cup of tea at the moment. To be honest, I think I'm starting this YouTube to kind of help me find my style as an artist. I've seen lots of art YouTube channels, and the common words of advice are some things along the lines of, oh, don't worry about finding your style and just create. And I hope that having a consistent schedule of output will help that. And I'm not going to really worry about what kind of, quote, style I'm drawing. I'm just gonna put it out there and let you guys see it all. So yeah, at this point, I'm just adding the main shading to the face, keeping consistent with a light source on the right side. I'm honestly kind of working my way from the bottom up now on the drawing. It's really meditative to keep a consistent light pressure with my lead pencil. I move around the piece a bit here and there, and that really helps with not only the sense of monotony, but it helps to make sure that one portion of the drawing isn't being too fleshed out compared to the rest. In the case of errors, it would really suck to have to erase a totally complete portion of your drawing just because it's not fitting in with the rest. Actually, sometimes it ends up just changing your whole piece. Also, I don't know why I decided to add the moon to the forehead. I was probably thinking about Sailor Moon at the time or something, but hey, I'm not complaining. I think it looks neat. Anywho, this is pretty much a completed piece here. All that's left for me to do is shade the hair and shade the leaves. Now that I think about it, like, that's kind of a huge portion of the drawing, and I'm already kind of signing out. It's that like 1/3 of the face is still left. But yeah, this piece took me a little over an hour to complete, start to finish, and I'm kind of happy with how it turned out. Anyways, if you guys want to see all of my completed drawings and also some progress vids, feel free to give me a follow on Instagram at brandon.camilo.art, and also give me a follow on TikTok at, wait for it, Brandon Camilo Art. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. Feel free to stick around for really crappy footage of what the final product looks like. Thanks.